Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.
Cordelia.
Took you long enough to wake up. My hand hurts.
Pity. Oh, why are you here?
Things are way out of control, Giles. First the thing at school, and then my mom confiscates all of my black clothes and scented candles. I came over here to tell Buffy to stop this craziness and found you all unconscious. Again. How many times have you been knocked out, anyway? I swear, one of these times you're gonna wake up in a coma.
Everybody, and welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We're just two boys watching every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time, giving our review, our reactions to the episodes. We're your hosts. I'm Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we're talking about Season 3, Episode 11, titled Gingerbread. It was directed by James Whitmore Jr. The story is by Thanya St. John and Jane Espenson. But the teleplay was by Jane Espenson. The original air date was January 12th, 1999, to an audience of 6.42 million people. And this is an interesting one. I have a lot to say about it. I know that Vance does too.
Yes, I do. This was the episode that's basically that shows like, we know what we are. Don't come at us. And I was like, there's a lot of moments where I was like, okay. Cross that off my note. Cross that off.
It answered a bunch of questions. It was very self-aware at some points.
Yeah.
I dug it.
It brought up two things that we've brought up constantly in this podcast.
Yeah.
And
it's a good one. It's interesting. I'm excited to talk about it.
And to start off, our predictions were way off.
Way the fuck off.
Yeah.
I predicted a giant gingerbread man terrorizing the town.
I predicted like a food,
you predicted a bake sale. Yeah.
Why is it called gingerbread?
I mean,
I was about to say, because of the Hansel and Gretel,
the fairy tale thing. Do they have to do with gingerbread?
The house is kind of made out of gingerbread. It's an edible house in that Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to make it like, is it going to be like some redheaded like ginger joke that they were going for? But no.
Well, somebody does mention gingerbread in this. Somebody says the words gingerbread in this episode. I don't remember why.
It has to be the Hansel and Gretel thing.
I guess so.
Yeah. It was a gingerbread house.
Yeah.
All right.
Before we get into it, Joe plugs. I've got hosting Booty Burlesque August 10th at El Cid at 7 o'clock. That'll be fun. And then I'm in San Diego for a weekend of comedy shows, stand up for Comedy Heights. You can just follow me on Instagram to figure out the details on that because they're at a couple of different locations. And it's clean comedy. So your boy will be doing some non-perverse jokes.
Wow. I don't even know.
Well, like PG-13 clean.
Okay.
Basically, you can't say fuck or like go into graphic sexual detail about certain things.
So you had to write
that's my entire act.
Yeah, you had to write a new act.
If you've listened to this podcast, you know I say fuck nonstop.
Yeah.
But September 2nd and 3rd. Follow me on Instagram at Joe Welke for updates if you're in that area or want to come check it out. You got anything here, Vance?
I would like to say, please, if you could leave, I know we asked at the end of episodes, but if you could leave a review on Apple Podcasts, if you write a review, we'll give you a shout out on this thing. So, little incentive anyway. And if you're on Spotify, just add a like and screen grab it and send it in to us and we'll shout out something. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I want to shout out somebody here too, but I have to do it via you. So a couple days ago, Vance, somebody sent Vance a DM about this Giles the Ripper shirt on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent it over to me. He was like, check out this shirt. And I immediately purchased it. It came in the mail today as we're recording, like an hour before we started recording. And it looks fucking dope. I don't know who was it that
I believe a longtime listener at KCTV.
Hell yeah. KCTV. Thank you. That shirt is sick. If you guys have any like Buffy merch.
I will post a picture of it and tag you on that. On Instagram.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, if you guys see like sick Buffy merch out there and you're like, yo, you should check this out. I'm a merch whore. I buy so much stuff. But that Giles Ripper shirt, it looks great. It's so fun. But also, it can't be like spoiler stuff. So if you want to post that like in our Discord or whatever, maybe we should make a separate like thing for merch or something. But or put it in Joe's Fashion Corner. There you go. We already have a tab for Joe's Fashion Corner.
Oh, Joe's Fashion Corner. Man.
Hell yeah.
Joe had a Fashion Corner faux pas recently. For me, at least. I'm not going to put you on blast on the podcast unless you want it.
I wear Crocs and I have an iridescent fanny pack. And I was wearing that and Vance was like, what the fuck are you doing? How do you have a Fashion Corner segment on our podcast? I have like banana colored Crocs and this iridescent fanny pack, and I had bright red shorts on, and Vance took issue.
Yeah, so anytime Joe's ripping fashion, just picture that.
I wasn't trying to impress anybody there. You see me out in the streets. If I'm trying to impress, what? You know what? Fuck this. Let's get into the episode. I'm going to defend my Crocs and iridescent fanny pack. All right, let's get into it. So episode opens up with Buffy walking alone in a graveyard park type deal. She's out on patrol. And like 2 seconds later, you see like some feathers, the bushes rustling, because you're like, oh, it's going to be a vampire coming out of there. But instead, from behind, Joyce, Buffy's mom, shows up and she's like, you know what? I kind of feel like I need to be out here and support you and see what you're doing. And I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of your life. And Buffy says, slaying is kind of an alone thing. Fuck off.
I wrote that down too. I was like, no. One, you go out with another slayer sometimes. You also go out with a team of people.
Yes. And when you are like alone, you're saying shit like, help me. Or when you're with a team, you're like, we're supposed to help each other. Like, I can't do this without you and all this shit. Like every time that she's with somebody else, it's like, I need your help. Why aren't you helping me? We need to be a team. But now that like Joyce shows up, she's like, this is an alone thing.
Yeah.
Get out of here, dude.
I will say I do love the 90s thermos.
Oh, yeah.
That was a...
Yeah, Buffy's mom came with like snacks. She was like, I got snacks for you. Just, if you need some strength while you're slaying.
Yeah.
But then, of course, a vampire shows up. It's a man in a suit, and he starts attacking Buffy. And Joyce is like, oh my God, that's Mr. Sanderson from the bank. Yeah. And Buffy's like beating this guy up. They're fighting. And Buffy's like, Mom, get out of here. Just get away. I got to go kill this guy. And Buffy's mom's like, okay. So she just wanders off.
My thought is, why do vampires, I guess it's a newly turned vampire, but I was like, why do vampires just attack Buffy? Because it seems like it's well known that she's the Slayer.
Yeah, I mean, especially after this episode.
Everyone seems to know that she's the Slayer in this episode, but we'll get into it.
But yeah, it's like a metal to magnet or magnet to metal. Like they're just attracted to Buffy and they always come and try and attack her. Attack the weak older woman that's with her, that's carrying like a picnic basket.
Vampires aren't like feral animals either, too. Like they can like stalk their prey. Like they could just like wait until Buffy's mom is alone, which she is later, and just attack. Yeah. So now Buffy's mom is literally alone. She's just walking through and just like shivering. She's like, "Ooh, cold night out." Yeah. But she walks over to this like carousel. And she sees these 2 dead kids and she's like, oh my God, this is fucked up. Oh, holy shit. Wow, this is the reality of the situation that I'm dealing with. Like, I thought it was going to be a fun little jaunt with my daughter. But there are I
dead
thought we were going to
kids.
kill our local bankers.
Yeah. And she's like, oh my God. And Buffy shows up. She's like, okay, well, now that I took care of Mr. Sanderson, and she sees the dead kids, and she's like, oh, fuck. Yeah, Mom, I didn't want you to see this, but this is part of it. And then we get the intro song, and then we come back from the intro song.
Wait, I just wanted to say, Buffy's like comforting her mom, right? Or is this afterwards?
I think this is afterwards. Because then we have cops show up, and cops are just...
When Buffy's comforting her mom, though, I think it's like she's hugging her mom before it cuts to the intro song. Buffy does not seem fazed that these kids are dead.
No.
Like,
she's like,
whatever.
No, Mom, this is just part of it.
And I think Buffy is too unfazed, and I think the mom... Watching it in order, I was like, the mom is way too phased considering that a party at her house got wrecked and a bunch of teenagers died. And you just saw a banker. But I was like, okay, fine.
Yeah. But yeah, her mom is like taken aback by this. And then the cops show up, taking a bunch of pictures. Buffy and the mom are like giving statements to the police or whatever. And then after that's over, Buffy goes up to Joyce and she's like, hey, we can go. It's time to go. And Joyce is just beside herself. She's like, these are just kids, dude. Like, I didn't think that it was going to be kids. Like, Mr. Sanderson, sure. Yeah. But my old friend from the bank, kill him. But children? Are you kidding me? And Buffy's like, don't worry. I'll take care of it. I'll find who did this and we'll kill him. And Buffy's mom is like, yeah, but you can't make this right. Like, the kids are still dead. And Buffy's like, oh, I know. Oh, honey, I know.
Yeah, she's like, I know, but I'll make it right again. She says like the same thing again. I'm like, no, you can't.
She's like, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. And then there's a lot of smash cuts in this.
This is a big transition episode where everything is just like it's like that pre-lap setting up to the next scene transition. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like something that they say in the first scene is answered immediately in the next scene. It's kind of like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia intros where it's like, we're not going to be addicted to crack. Yeah. And then it's like smash to the black. The gang gets addicted to crack.
The show Archer does that like in every episode. Archer does a lot of that pre-lap to the next scene. Yeah.
But Buffy's like, don't worry about it. It's not that big a deal, Mom. And then it cuts to Buffy talking to Giles, and she's like, it's a big fucking deal, Giles. These are kids. Kids are dead. And Giles is like, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's kind of fucked up.
I love he's like, is this because of your mom's involvement making it personal or not?
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, I don't know. Maybe you're like just a little shaken because your mom was there. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, dude, this is way, way worse than anything that we've seen before. And then Giles is like, well, was there anything of note? Was it vampires? Was it demons? She's like, well, the kids did have this symbol on their hands. Let me draw it for you. I remember it. She draws the symbol. It's like this triangle with a little squiggle in the middle. Mm-hmm. And Giles looks at it and goes, oh, I think I've seen that symbol before. That's more of like an occult type thing. People in a cult. Mm-hmm. And Buffy's like, so wait, this isn't vampires. This is human beings. And Giles is like, yeah, this is people doing like a ritual sacrifice in a cult. And then he walks over. He's like, I'm going to do some research and figure out what cult it is. And then Buffy just has a moment alone to herself. And then she goes, so Giles, can we talk about maybe undoing that Slayers can't kill human beings rule?
Yeah, she says Slayers don't kill people rule. And I was like, yes. Because I've been talking. I was like, I don't think she can kill a person.
Yeah. We thought it was more of like she doesn't have it in her, but I thought it was more like a Batman rule.
I thought it was more like the show wouldn't let her kill a person. It's like, oh yeah, Buffy could stab a demon, but she can't like stab like some dude that just punches her, you know? But yeah, no, apparently it's a rule for Slayers.
Yeah.
A lot of rules for these one person in the whole world.
I mean, it's a rule for everybody.
Yeah, right, true. True. Good point.
Yeah, don't go around killing people. That's not just
I'm
for
not
Slayers.
A Slayer, so I can do it.
Yeah. I don't got anybody barking up my tree talking to me about killing people.
Just like, I'm going to get my hands dirty.
But after Buffy says that, Giles kind of turns around and he's like, hey, dude, why don't you fucking calm down? You're acting a little crazy now.
You're acting a little emotional, lady.
Yeah. Giles turns around. Whoa, what's it, that time of the month? Huh?
Giles just becomes completely sexist.
Yeah. But no, he's like, hey, you should maybe calm down. I think this is affecting you because your mom was there. And she's like, no, it's not, Giles. These were children. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to research. You just we'll figure this out.
I have to say my thought when this happened, and I'm just going to go with my running thought through the episodes. I was like, your boyfriend has killed so many kids.
Dude, we talked about it last episode. There was a fucking guy lecturing Angel about how he killed his children and like put them in disgusting, awful, contorted ways. And Buffy's like, yeah, but that was...
He killed the chambermaid and was like, oh, your kid will be dessert? Like,
yeah.
He's a monster.
Yeah. That was in the... Here, let me do a Buffy slamming my locker. Slam. Enough, Vance. Enough.
I know my boyfriend has issues.
Look, I get it. Enough, though. Yeah. So then Oz and Xander are in lunch line and they're having an awkward time together, trying to be friends again, I guess. And
burritos and corn dogs.
Yeah. So then they go sit down at a table, and Willow and Amy the Witch making another appearance. They join them for lunch, and Amy has changed her hair. They make mention of that just in case we didn't know who that character was.
I had to see her a second time just to make sure they didn't recast the actor, and it's the same actress.
I had to back up because I couldn't hear them say Amy.
Okay,
I thought they said Mia at first for some reason, and I was like, wait, what? Who is this person? And they're gonna definitely die. And then they're like, no, it's Amy. I was like, oh, Amy will be fine.
Yeah, but she's got a whole new, more gothic witch look to her. Hair's colored and darker.
It's like a dark maroon look. She's got some longevity on this show. I didn't think that she'd be sticking around as much as she is.
I don't understand. She should just be anytime there's some weird stuff to go to Amy the Witch.
Right? They should absolutely just bring her into the fold.
It's interesting that Willow has tried to take over witchcraft stuff when we thought she'd be more watcher craft. But yeah. Yeah. She's doing a little bit of everything. Yeah.
She's like a Swiss Army knife in this thing.
Maybe Oz will take over more of the Watcher role since he's
okay, I could see that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
And Watchers have to be guys.
Yeah.
We saw what happened with
they need to be watching teenage girls.
We saw that one female Watcher. She just lost it.
So they're sitting there and they're talking, and Xander's awkward, and Oz is like, hey, I haven't seen you. Where you been? And Xander's like, oh, she wasn't with me. I swear to God, she wasn't with me. And everyone just kind of looks at him like, calm down, dude. Ease up. And then they are talking about, it's Buffy's birthday next week, and we got to figure out what to do. And just as soon as they start talking about that, Buffy shows up. And Buffy's like, what are you guys talking about? And they're like, nothing, don't worry about it. And then Buffy sits down and she's telling the gang about, I went out with my mom for a surprise patrol with my mom. And then Willow's like, your mom went? Your mom takes interest in everything that you do? That must be nice. And it was like, whoa, where did this storyline come from?
Also, Buffy's birthday, does it ever get a payoff?
Not really in this episode. Yeah. A little bit, kind of.
Does it?
They do later on.
Yeah. I just forgot that was even a part of the story. Yeah.
Yeah. So Buffy sits down and she's like, I went with my mom. We saw a bunch of dead kids. And like, oh, that's fucked up. And then and then Buffy's mom shows up at school and she's like, oh my God, Buffy, I just couldn't sleep at night. I just kept having visions of those dead kids. It was so fucked up. And Buffy's like, yeah, well, this shit happens. I'm sorry. We're going to take care of it. And the mom's like, no, I want to be more involved. I want to know, did Giles, is he doing research about this? And then Buffy's like, let's go away from the gang here and we're going to talk about this privately. And then Willow makes another mention about how her mom doesn't take any interest in her life.
And because the mom started mentioning like, I think she mentions like witches or something.
Oh yeah, she's like, this is like witchcraft and monsters, and witches are disgusting, horrible, awful people. And then Willow's like, and
then Amy's just like darting her eyes around.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so funny that Willow's talking about moms taking an interest, and they're talking about witchcraft. And I couldn't help but just remember that Amy's mom was a witch and she's stuck in the body of a statue in the hallway. Like if anybody should have issues with this, it should be Amy.
Oh, absolutely.
Like mom issues and witch issues are like right up her alley.
But yeah, so then Buffy and Joyce go out into the hallway and they're talking, and Joyce is like, what is this, vampires? Is this witches? What is this? I want to be more involved. And then Buffy's like, hey, Mom, we want to keep your fucking voice down. You know, we're in school. And this is also like my school life and my home life. And it's combining. And those spheres should never, the Venn diagram of these two things should never intersect. And it's really wigging me out. But then Joyce is like, well, you know what? I already called every single person I know and told them about the dead kids. And they all called every single person they know. And they told them about the dead kids. And we're having a big vigil meetup. And we're going to talk about what we should do. And Buffy's like, why the fuck would you do that? We usually take care of these things in private. This is a hush-hush thing. And like now that everybody knows, I can't really operate under my secrecy of Slayerdom or whatever. And the mom's like, well, I don't think that there's going to be that many people.
Well, when she said, I called everyone I know, I was like, does Buffy's mom know a lot of people?
She just called Giles. And Buffy's dad.
Yeah.
And Pat, who's dead.
Yeah, Pat, who just like, Pat, our friend who died. She's like, I don't care about that. Yeah, just weird. And I thought it was interesting. She jumped straight to like a cult to witches. She's like, it's witches?
Yeah. But I again, here's another like jump scene thing where she's like, I don't think there's going to be a lot of people there. Yeah. Cut to, there's a fuckload of people at this vigil.
If you've ever watched TV or movies, you know what the next shot was going to be once she said that.
Oh yeah. So they're in like a courtroom.
I don't know
this
what
vigil
this
is in a courtroom. Because there's like a judge's, wherever the judges sit, and then there's two desks, and there's like a witness thing. So I'm like, okay. And the mom also was like, we're going to have to talk with the mayor. The mayor's going to be there. And we're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
The mayor's going to be involved. Okay. And so Buffy and Willow show up and they're like, wow, this is a lot of people. We do not like how this is turning out. We usually operate, just like there's 5 or 6 of us. And now Willow's like, well, at least your mom's taking an interest in your life and doing this. And like your mom is involved with you and all this stuff. And my mom, I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw my mom. Oh, wait, here she is right now. And we get Willow's mom showing up and she's like, oh, Willow. And Willow's mom is the worst mom of all time.
She is. Do they ever explain what her mom's job is? Because it seems like her mom is like a child or like a psychologist or something.
Yeah, or like a psychology professor or something. It's some kind of maybe like social work. I don't know.
She kind of like treats Willow as if she's like a project to study as opposed to a kid.
Exactly.
But she also calls Buffy Bunny, which is amazing.
Yeah, she shows up. She's like, hey, what's up? Nice to see you, Bunny. And Willow's like, hey, Mom, what are you doing here? She's like, well, Joyce, Buffy's mom, told me about this. And I wanted to get involved because I just wrote a paper about how, teens are really getting into mysticism and the occult lately. And Willow, you get a haircut? You look different. And Willow's like, yeah, I cut my hair in August. And as we know, it's definitely past Christmas.
Yeah.
So Willow's mom's a terrible mom. And she's like, oh, well, it looks nice, I guess. And then Joyce comes over and she's like, oh, yeah, this is my vigil, huh? This is a big turnout, right? And Willow's mom is named Sheila, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So Sheila is like, yeah, this is great. Then Giles shows up and he's like, wow, pretty big turnout, huh? And then he makes eyes with Joyce. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, oh, Giles, let's get our Giles impressions on here. Oh, Joyce, very nice seeing you. It's been since the last time I saw you was interesting, right? And Joyce is like, yeah. Anyway,
pretty accurate.
So they're kind of like milling around. They're like, well, let's see what goes on at this vigil. There's a lot of people here. We got to figure out what we should do. And then the mayor takes the podium and he does a little like, attention, everybody. This is craziness. I never wanted this to happen in my town. I'm the mayor here, and this is terrible. Sunnydale is a great place, and this shouldn't be happening here. And he holds up like a sign that says never again with the pictures of the two kids. And he's like, this is my slogan from now on. This is never going to happen again. Yeah. Thanks for coming, everybody. And he walks off.
Well, no, then he says, we're going to have Buffy's mom come speak.
Yes. The organizer of this event, Joyce Summers, please come up here. We're going to lead us in a moment of silence. That's what she was supposed to do.
Well, yeah. And this is the moment when I went, why didn't the kids' parents organize this?
Exactly.
I was like, where are the kids' parents? I was like, why is Buffy's mom in charge of this? Now, these get answered later.
Yes.
But it was a key moment. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. So Buffy's mom takes the podium and she goes up and she goes, you know what? No. Mr. Mayor, I was supposed to come up here and lead a moment of silence for these poor, innocent, slain children, but I need to address some stuff that you just said. Sunnydale is not a nice place. This is not a good city. This is bullshit. I mean, everybody here, how many people do you know that have disappeared and died? Just no trace of them ever coming back. How many of those people? That happens all the time here. Like, what the fuck? And it's time to stop with these monsters, with these witches, with these slayers. We need to stop this. It's time for the grown-ups to take this town back. And when she says slayers, like the camera goes to Buffy, and Buffy's like, what the fuck? Are you fucking serious? What?
Yeah, and Giles was like, what is going on?
Yeah. And I was like, I love where this episode is going. This is very interesting.
This episode has they're playing on the satanic panic of the 90s with like D&D and stuff, which Stranger Things brings up in its latest season. So it has a lot of Stranger Things vibes.
Well, it's also like kind of like a Red Scare witch hunt type of deal.
Yeah,
like they even make mention of that
Salem
later on in the episode. Yeah. But I was like, there's even like a Twilight Zone episode that's like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was like, I love Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I mean,
so I was like,
mobs of people are the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like, who cares about a monster? A mob of like misinformed people. Just
dude, it was so interesting. I was like, I love where this is going. This is very interesting.
Also, I loved, like, there's so much truth in what she's saying. Like,
absolutely.
She was like, how many of our family members how many people do we know have gotten skinned or suffered from neck ruptures?
Yeah. I was like, oh shit, okay.
And they have a shot of the mayor in the back listening to this. And I was like, oh man, he's going to call a hit on her, right?
Oh, yeah, because the mayor is looking and he's looking at her like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
What are you saying? Shut up.
And I don't know why she needs to say this for people to really be like, wait, I am missing 3 of my kids that I put in high school. Like,
yeah, everybody. The entire swim team is gone.
Did we win state? Yeah, there's like 8 kids lost on that. Yeah.
It is, but I was like, you know what? Joyce is making some good points here. Like, everybody, there are so many murders in this place.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then it cuts to like a skull, and there's a group of people like gathered around. There's candles and all this stuff. It's obvious that a spell is being cast in it. goes from the skull up to this random goth guy that we've never seen before. Mm-hmm. And we're like, okay, well, who's this guy? I've never seen this guy. I see a part of this. Mm-hmm. And then it pans around, it goes to Amy the witch. Mm-hmm. And we all know that Amy's a witch, and we don't know where her loyalties lie. Yeah. She's kind of like a tweener. Like she could be evil, she could be good. We don't know. Yeah. And then it pans around once more, and Willow has a seat, and Willow's there casting this spell. And you're like, oh, okay, well, what the hell's going on here? Pans up, and in the center of all these three witches that are casting a spell is the symbol that was on the dead kid's hands. And then you're like, oh, this just got even more interesting. Mm-hmm. What the hell is going on here?
Yeah, no, it is a great reveal to a commercial break. Absolutely.
And like they make it very ambiguous too, because Willow's face is like kind of deadpan face. Yeah. Everyone looks very deadpan. You're like, oh, what's going on here? I loved that, dude. It was so good. So then the next day at school, the third witch kid that we don't know. Did we get a name for him? Is it Michael?
Yeah,
Michael. So Michael's getting bullied, and he's got these jocks slam him up against the locker. And he's like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, I heard you're a little witch boy, huh? Heard you're doing all kinds of witchcraft bullshit. Mm-hmm. You're involved in that stuff, huh? And he's like, what? No. And then Amy the witch comes over, and she's like, hey, what the hell? Get your hands off of him. And they're like, oh, we know all about you too, little Miss Witch. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, if you know all about me, then guess what? You're going to have to answer to me if you fuck with Michael. And they're like, big whoop. You're nobody. Also, it's like a gang of like 7 or 8 guys surrounding this Michael kid.
Yeah, and it's notably not Lars, because he's no longer bully jock.
Oh, it's Larry, not Lars.
Larry, yes. He called him Lairs or whatever once.
Oh, yeah, Lair. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, once Larry came out of the closet, he's a redeemable
He's
person.
helping people pick up their books.
Yeah. He's a nice guy now.
Yeah.
Now that he can be himself.
Yep.
But these guys, terrible people.
Real Stranger Things vibes with the bullying of the people doing D&D and stuff like that. Goth kids are just doing their phase.
Yeah.
Usually.
So after Amy the witch is like, you're going to have to deal with me, and the bullies are like, we're not worried about you.
Yeah.
Buffy shows up, and then they let Michael go, and they like pat him on the shoulder like, nothing going on here, don't worry about us. And then Buffy's like, yeah, you're damn right, there's nothing going on here. And then they're like, we were just leaving. Yeah. And they all leave. So what is Buffy's reputation in this school?
Exactly. I wrote down, do they know that she's the Slayer, or are they just afraid that she's a good fighter? Like, why would they leave by seeing Buffy?
Well, Buffy's constantly saying like, nobody knows who I am in the school, but she has a reputation of like being an ass kicker, I guess.
Like the biggest ass, like it wasn't like, oh, we don't want to fight a girl, because they were willing to fight Amy, who they think is a witch.
Yeah, dude, like I would be much more afraid of Amy, who is a witch,
who can cast spells,
versus Buffy, who like beat up one guy in front of people. Like she beat up Larry in that one self-defense class.
I mean, so much stuff has happened in this school. Like if the rumors of her parties and all the zombie, like I don't understand how like people don't know that weird stuff happens, at least in the school.
Like I just want to know like what is Buffy's standing in this school? Like I'm so confused about this.
Yeah. Same.
But it's also like, look, there's 7 or 8 of you. Even if you think Buffy's strong, she can't take on all of you.
They must think she's the Slayer.
I don't
know what people know that Slayers are.
I was gonna say that word's not even in their lexicon. Like they don't understand what that means.
Yeah.
I feel like they just know that she beat up one guy one time in a self-defense class. Like, did she beat up anybody else in school?
She was fighting someone that was shooting in the hallway that shot Oz. There was a person that got set on fire in the classroom and called her out.
Yeah.
I mean, she was at the Bronze in the first episode beating up people.
Yeah.
She's done a bunch of stuff.
I know she's done a bunch of stuff, but
how widespread is it in the school?
Yeah, it's made to seem like nobody pays attention to her or knows who she is.
Yeah.
But there's no way.
She didn't even say anything. She just showed up and he got scared.
Yeah. And then they walk away, and she's like, damn right.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. So they walk away, and Amy's like, yeah, they were just bullying Michael for being a witch. We got this covered. Thanks, Buffy. So they walk away. Then Cordelia shows up. And Cordelia just comes and bitches Buffy out. She's like, that's what you get. You're going to hang out with those two witch freaks. That's what you're going to have to deal with. And I'm so glad that's what happens when you hang out with witches, freaks, and losers. And believe me, I know from experience. And then she walks past Buffy. And Buffy's like, thanks, Cordelia. And then Cordelia turns around and goes, also, I want you to know that was a pointed reference to when I was hanging out with you guys. Buffy's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. I wrote down like Cordelia's back to her normal original Cordelia level.
Yeah.
She's really taking this breakup hard because Buffy's getting some strays in this. Buffy's not a problem here.
But as Cordelia's walking away, Buffy's like, and you know what? For the record, it's not witches, okay? It's definitely not witches. She turns around.
She's screaming that down the hallway.
Cordelia. So then she turns around and Giles is there. And Giles is like, it's not witches. Buffy's like, see, it's not witches, right, Giles? And Giles is like, actually, I do believe it is witches. Which I loved.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe it is witches. I've been researching that symbol, and it's a symbol of the occult and witchcraft and all this. Buffy's like, God damn it. It's a symbol of European Wiccan covens. So they're like, we're going to do some more research. But I believe I've seen that symbol on a book that I loaned to Willow. So could you find Willow and see if she still has that book and let me have it? Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, sure. So now Buffy's on the hunt for Willow. She goes over to where Xander's sitting, and Xander, she goes up to Xander. She's like, hey, have you seen Willow? And Xander's like, why does everybody think I know where Willow is? She wasn't with me. Look, I'm tired of this like judgment and everyone thinking that I'm cheating on people again. I just want to move past this, and you're all like hounding me for this. And Buffy's like, well, I mean, you did do fucked up shit. You cheated on your girlfriend.
Well, he says, what's the deal with being innocent until proven guilty? And he's like, you are guilty. You did the smooches.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, he's like, what happened to innocent until guilty? And Buffy's like, you are guilty. We caught you. Yeah. He's like, yeah, but I'm talking about like future guilt.
He's got the Joe Walkie wish argument going. That's how you know you're wrong when you're on Xander's side of the argument.
He's got future Cordelia, future Xander.
It's the future.
Theory.
Yeah.
This is the future. All right, we're thinking about it. But she's like, well, have you seen Willow? And he's like, well, all of her books are right there because she went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And so Buffy goes over to the books and she's inspecting them. And she sees Willow's notepad. And it's got the symbol that they were all talking about. It's got the witch symbol on it. And the
it's
giant,
just like in the middle of the notepad. I love it.
Yeah. It's like a doodle that she did, you know? And the giant book that Giles loaned her also has that symbol on it. It's a huge ass book. And Willow comes over and she's like, hey, what's up, Buffy? What you doing? And Buffy's like, shows her the notepad and she's like, hey, what's up with the symbol, huh? And Willow's like, it's nothing. It's a doodle. And Buffy's like, dude, this is the symbol that was on the kids that were killed. It was on them. So you need to answer me right now what the fuck is going on with this symbol. And she's like, all right, well, I've been doing a little bit of witchcraft, all right, but it's nothing crazy. It's nothing serious. I was just, fucking around. And then we hear a commotion in the hallway, and it's the police. The police are in Sunnydale High, and they're inspecting every locker. And they're going through every kid's locker looking for evidence of witchcraft, and they're going to round up all the people they suspect of being witches. And Buffy and Willow are there, and Amy's there, and she's like, well, they already asked me to come to the principal's office. I gotta go. I gotta answer to Principal Snyder.
And Xander brings up like, oh, what is this, Nazi Germany?
Yeah, he's like, I got Playboys in there. Is anyone worried about my Playboys? And then Willow's like, dude, I've got a fuckload of witch stuff in my locker. This is terrible.
Later, they hold up 2 baggies of stuff, and I'm like, what is that?
Yeah. Like, what kind of witchcraft stuff?
And nobody's freaking out about their drugs in California. Like, Oz is like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I mean, Cordelia is freaking out about a $45 can of hairspray that's imported.
That's a lot of money for some hairspray in the 90s and high school.
In the 90s, yeah. I was going to say, today, that's not that much. Yeah. I feel like I know people that do that.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
So Willow, this is where the payoff is. Willow turns to Buffy and she's like, Buffy, I swear to God, I wasn't doing anything bad with that symbol. I was actually just doing a spell to predict something for your birthday.
I think she said it was a protection spell for your birthday.
Oh, a protection. Oh, I thought it said prediction. I was like, why would you need to predict?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I don't know how this protection spell would actually protect her, but they should also go back and try to do a protection spell again.
Yeah. But because she said that, like, once I've talked about this protection spell, it kind of dissipates and now it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And
that's the birthday reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the payoff for that. But she's like, I swear to God, I didn't do anything nefarious. I wasn't up to no good. I was trying to protect you. Mm-hmm. But now I'm fucked. Principal Snyder walks up with his 2 baggies of witchcraft stuff, walks up to Willow and he's like, Miss Rosenberg, come with me. And then so she goes.
I love Snyder's like, this is the day principals around the country dream of.
Yeah. Like no debate, just martial law.
Oh, yeah. It's like no one remembers the candy bar episode.
So he's like, Miss Rosenberg, you come with me. And so she comes in and Oz is walking with her. Like, he's like, I'm going to be there with you for strength.
This is not something. When he was walking off with her, I was like, he can't go with her.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
They are not a legal married couple. He's not a parent. Like, they would not say, oh, Oz, come join us while we talk to Willow. Like, yeah. They're like, no, you're a 5th year senior in high school.
You're a burnout, dude. Yeah. You're playing the bronze. Maybe they should investigate him because he's always at the bronze where all this demonic activity is happening.
Call all of them in there. You know the whole group's involved.
Right? But, they were rounding up Amy and Willow to go to the principal's office to have a word.
Does Buffy not have any Slayer stuff in her locker?
Right? Does she not have stakes? Does she not have garlic and crosses?
I feel like the cross, they'd be like, oh, she's just very religious.
Yeah.
Very religious, likes garlic on her pizza at lunch.
I mean, she is back to rocking her gigantic cross necklace in this episode.
Mm-hmm. It was Christmas last episode. You don't wear that on Christmas.
No, absolutely not. You don't want to offend Willow, who is the most Jewish person only around Christmas.
Yeah.
Then they round up Willow and Oz goes with her. And then we go to the library where the cops kick down library jail's door. They got a bunch of books. They're confiscating all of Giles's books. And Giles is standing there like, whoa, oh my God, this is all. And then Buffy shows up to the library and she's like, Giles, I got some news. And Giles turns around. He's like, fuck your news. I'm taking all my books. And Buffy's like, I'm here to tell you something, dude. That symbol that we were talking about, it's not bad. There's something missing. There's a missing piece here because that symbol is just like a symbol of all witchcraft, good, bad, and the other. And Giles is like, well, I would help you out if I could fucking read my books. And Snyder comes in and he's like, Giles walks up to him. He's like, call off your what he says, marauders. Yeah, call off your marauders. It's so nerdy.
It's weird because he goes into angry Giles mode, but not angry Ripper mode.
Mm-hmm. You know? And Snyder's like, or what? What are you gonna do, Giles? Why do you have a bunch of fucking witchcraft books in a public school library? Answer me that. And Giles is just like, this isn't over.
Like, they have no counter argument against Joyce and Snyder.
Yeah. I mean, Snyder's living it up and he's a dick, but he's right. Like, why is he like picks up a book? He's like, why do you have Blood Rituals of the Occult edition 5 here? Like, who's checking this out? What project could anyone be working on with this book?
Not on the reading syllabus at all.
Yeah. And John's like, this isn't over. And then so he turns to Buffy and he's like, oh, no. Snyder's like, well, if you got a problem with me, then guess who you're going to have to answer to? And I thought I was going to say the mayor.
Yeah, I did too.
But instead of the mayor, he goes, you're going to have to answer to Moo. And Giles is like looking at him like, you motherfucker. And Buffy's like, I'm sorry. Did you just say Moo?
Yeah.
And then Snyder takes a drink of his coffee and he's like, yeah, haven't you heard? Moo, it's the hottest new group in town. Mothers, what is it?
It's Mothers Opposed
to the Occult.
Yeah. And kind of like a take on Mad Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Yeah. Mothers Opposed to the Occult.
Yeah.
And then when he said that, I was like, first of all, hilarious that it's called Moo.
Yeah.
But you could just make the acronym motto. Mothers Opposed to the Occult.
Yeah, you could.
But then we wouldn't have
Moto.
that
It would be
hilarious...
Moto. It'd probably be Moto.
No, motto. M-O-T-T-O. That's how you spell motto.
Yeah, Mothers Opposed to. Oh yeah, the two and the would be.
Just
T's.
make 2 T's. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you always like leave the articles out on those acronyms. But this one you would want it. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, unless it makes your acronym sound so stupid. But it is a funny joke. And she's like, and Buffy's like, Moo? Who the fuck? What a lame acronym. Who came up with that? And Snyder takes another sip of his coffee. He's like, well, she's actually quite a brilliant person who led the vigil the other night. I believe you call her Mom. He is relishing this moment.
I know. He's so good at sniveling. He shouldn't be, and I still don't understand his motives, but he's good at it.
In wrestling, when they have a bad guy like Snyder, he's called a chicken shit heel. Because it's not just a heel. It's like he's sniveling and he will like hide behind bigger people.
Yes.
Because he's a fucking little chicken shit. And he's so good in this role.
Yeah.
So then we have a scene where Willow comes home and her mom has laid out all of her witch stuff on a table. And Willow's like, oh, Mom, it's not what it seems. And the mom's like, don't worry. Have a seat. Like, I get it. You're going through a phase. You're doing this witchcraft stuff. I wrote a whole paper about it. I read a bunch of articles about it. And Willow's like, Mom, I'm not an article. I'm not a subject for you to study. You don't really like pay attention to anything in my life. Why don't you just like calm down? And the mom's like, no. This witchcraft stuff, this is just a phase and you're not really doing anything. And Willow's like, well, hold on a second. I can do stuff. I am a witch. I can make, pencils float and I can call the elements, all 2 of the elements, but I'm working on it.
I was really wanting to see the pencil float this episode. Yeah.
They kept calling it back too.
Yeah.
And I was like waiting for it to happen, but
Chekhov's pencil.
Yeah. But the mom is like, no, you know what this is? I know what this is. This is a call for help. You need discipline. This is you wanting structure in your life. So, you know what? I'm going to discipline you. You're grounded. And Willow's like, what? This is the first time I've ever done anything bad. And you're just going to go straight to grounding me? This is bullshit. And the mom's like, yeah, I know what this is. This is a call for help. I read all about this. I talked about this with my psychology friends. And Willow's like, Mom, stop with the psychology talk. You don't realize, like, I can do shit. Like, I am a witch. I can, you know what? I'll show you. I'm a rebel now. I'm going to call Beelzebub. I worship the devil. I worship Beelzebub. And Willow's mom is just like, okay, honey. All right, whatever.
This scene kind of went off the rails towards the end for me.
Yes.
One, it did a thing that I hate that they have kids and teens do in shows. They're like, I'm a teenager. I'm supposed to get in trouble.
Yeah.
No teenager has ever referenced themselves as being a teenager because you don't.
I've never done it.
You don't picture yourself as a teenager. You just picture yourself as what you are. You're not like, well, when I'm 30, I'm supposed to not do anything. It's like you don't think that way because you only have the 17, 16 years of life you have. So when she said that, I was like, whatever. That's an older writer with kids telling someone that they have to do that. Another thing, when she gets grounded, she starts doubling down on that she was a witch and that she's doing worse stuff, which I like, I didn't understand what saying I worship Beelzebub was supposed to gain.
I don't either. I don't know where it went, because it seemed like Willow was trying to weasel her way out of it at the beginning. And then she's like, no, you know what? I can do stuff. Like, the mom was doubting that Willow was a witch. And then Willow's like, well, actually, I am a witch.
Yeah, but then,
and I was like, why are you admitting to this?
And then she's like, I worship the devil. And it's like, but you don't, Willow. Like, what are you saying? Yeah. And you're lumping that in with, I'm a rebel. I'm dating a musician. And I really thought she was going to say werewolf.
Oh. Well, the thing that the mom took most issue with was that she's dating a musician.
Yeah.
The mom was like, wait, what? You worship the devil and Beelzebub. Fuck all that stuff. You're dating a what?
The mom has some great lines in this, and one of them is like, I don't think the last time you had a talk was when we were watching like Mr. Rogers, and you were breaking down like King Friday. It's like, the way he was lording over all the other people. It was like such a side tangent that was just great.
Yeah, she talked about how Mr. Rogers is like a patriarchal archetype that's ruining America and all this shit. But then the climax of the scene is she turns around and she goes, and you know what? You're grounded, and I don't want you hanging out with that Bunny Summers anymore.
And I knew a Bunny in high school, or someone who went by Bunny, but I never met a Buffy.
I knew a girl that went by Bunny in college, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I never know about. I'm sure there's Buffys out there now after the show for sure.
If you're a Buffy, write in.
If you're a Buffy and you're listening to Boys Watching Buffy.
Yeah, are people named Buffy after the show, or was there was Buffy like a thing before? I don't know the origin of that name.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it's kind of like how Khaleesi was a made-up name, and now a bunch of kids are being named Khaleesi from Game of Thrones or whatever.
Yeah.
So then we have another one of these things where Willow's mom's like, I don't want you hanging out with Bunny Summers anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Cuts to Buffy with Joyce, and Joyce goes, I don't want you hanging out with that Willow kid anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many of these in this episode that it was like, what are you trying to do?
They went for this one.
They
all work. They all work. Technically work. You know?
But it's like it doesn't happen in the show often. Like, it happens every once in a while, but they jam-packed 5 of them into this episode.
Yeah, normally you get one, maybe 2 in an episode, and sporadically in an episode. Sporadically every 5 episodes. But this one
was every scene.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Is it a different director? Did you know?
No, James Whitmore Jr. has written or directed them, but the story by Tanya St. John or whatever her name is. I don't know how to pronounce this.
Yeah.
But it might be her first time writing the story or whatever. But
there's a bunch of people. Yeah, it's a bunch of people.
The teleplay is by a lady that I don't really recognize as a writer. I know that she's written before on this, but not too often.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it's a good episode. That is interesting that they went with this. I don't know why they did it for this episode, but sure.
Yeah. So Buffy's mom doesn't want her hanging out with Willow anymore. Buffy's like, Mom, you can't do this. And you're really fucking up my whole steez here. You're ruining my whole game. And the mom is like, well, Buffy's saying, you took a bunch of Giles's books, and I can't operate as the Slayer if Giles doesn't have his books, and we need to research what's going on. And the mom is like, oh, he'll get his books back. Moo just wants to weed out the offensive materials. He'll get his books back.
And Buffy's like, so modern day.
I know, right?
I mean, that's the first thing people come for, man. It's Fahrenheit 451. It's all of that. Yeah.
So then Buffy's like, no, but we need to figure out what to do. We need a plan of attack. And then Buffy's mom is just kind of like, Buffy, you don't have a plan of attack. You never have a plan. You just see evil and react to it. You're very reactionary. And since you've been Slayer, do you think this town has gotten better, or have things gotten worse? People are dying constantly. I get that you want to go out and you want to kill vampires, but basically your whole thing of being the Slayer is pretty fruitless. And we're going to try and change that. We're trying to help you so you don't have to do this, and we'll like be a partner. And Buffy is like, whoa, dude. Whoa.
I mean, this is damning. And she's saying this, she's sitting in like the living room that has a bunch of the Never Again posters and billboards, and she's got a move button on her.
Yeah.
And yeah, this, I mean, I wrote down the line. She says, is Sunnydale getting any better? And yeah, that's a real question that hits us later hard.
Yeah. This is like a great, you know how they say like at Black Panther, the best villain was Killmonger or whatever in the MCU because his evil, quote unquote, evil plan had a point. Yeah. Like they have good points.
Yeah. You want your villain to have at least, they're villains, but you want them to have a consistent motive.
Yeah.
Of why they're doing it. They're not just doing it just to be evil.
Well, I know that they always say that the best villains are characters that think that they're the hero of their own story.
Exactly.
And this is a great hero of her own story. Like, this is a very great opposition to Buffy.
And this is why it's super scary with the real, like, I've always said, like, real people are the scariest because, like, these people in this show, the villains in the show believe what they're doing is right.
Yeah.
And there's no way to convince them otherwise.
Yeah.
So if they think they're right, and then the other people think they're right, then it's two people that think they're right fighting each other. You just have to pick a side.
And isn't that just American politics in a nutshell?
Joe and Vance's political corner will. It's human nature across the world, man.
Yeah, and thus ends Joe and Vance political.
I thought we'd get canceled for something else.
I know that I'm not smart enough to talk about anything like that, but yeah.
But the show Buffy is.
Yes. I mean, this is a great scene, too, because Buffy is taken aback by what her mom is saying. She's like, dude, I thought that you came out because you wanted to support me in my slaying, and now you're saying, like, I don't even do shit. Mm-hmm. And so Buffy's like, you know what? I'm going to go out on one of my fruitless patrols. Mm-hmm. And you keep doing what you're doing or whatever. And then she walks out and then she comes back and she goes, oh, nice acronym. Moo. Really? Nice. And then walks out. And then Joyce is left alone in her little living room with all of her political campaign merch. Mm-hmm. And the two dead little kids, ghosts or whatever, are there. And they're like, you're doing good, Joyce. You need to kill these bad girls.
Yeah, protect us from never happening again. It's like the dead kids are in the chair. And I was like, this is a great reveal.
Yeah.
I wrote down she's being controlled by dead kids.
Yep. So then Buffy goes over to the scene of the crime. She goes to where the kids were slain. And they have like a bunch of candles and pictures of the kids there. And it's like they have a little vigil. It's a little like shrine set up to them. And she's sitting there and Angel shows up. And I got to say.
The kid murderer himself.
Yeah. He's like, I can relate to this because I've done this plenty of times. I got to say that throughout this episode, but specifically this scene, the camera work it's out of focus so much.
Yeah.
It's rough, dude.
Yeah.
And this is not remaster stuff. Like,
I don't know. It's a lot of soft focus in this, yeah.
But like, it's just not in focus at all when Buffy and Angel are talking. Like it's past, the focus is past where they are and it's blurry. I was just like, dude, this is terrible. But Angel hugs Buffy and is like, I know it's tough out here. It's crazy. And then they stop hugging. And then Buffy says this line. She goes, people die in Sunnydale all the time. Why did my mom have to come when it's kids?
And I was like, thank you. I was like, they know it. The show knows what they do. And they're
hold on. Yeah. She doesn't say the kids. She goes, I mean, people in Sunnydale die all the time. Like, what's the big deal? And then Angel goes, well, I mean, they were kids. It's the innocence. They were really innocent. And then Buffy goes, and the banker guy wasn't innocent? Yeah. I killed that guy.
Yeah. And I was like,
Good point.
I was like, all right. I just crossed off my note from the first, from the beginning. I was like, they got it. No questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Angel's just kind of like, I mean, they're little kids. And then Buffy is basically in this scene. She's kind of questioning herself. She's like, I mean, my mom said a bunch of stuff to me that like kind of hit home and it's kind of fucked up, but she did have points. She said that my efforts are fruitless and, I'm never going to win. I can kill all these vampires, but they just keep popping up. Like, we're never going to win. And Angel's like, yeah, you're never going to win, but you got to keep fighting. You got to keep fighting. And that's what we do. And you know who I learned that from? I learned it from you last episode.
Is this before or after the finger in the dike joke?
Oh, dude, that was so stupid. I hated that.
Well, I think it works in a way that Buffy isn't that smart, except for she's really good at her SATs.
But I think that's after the finger in the dike / duck thing. And Angel kind of looks at her like, you really thought it was duck?
No, like she thought it was
She thought it was finger in the duck. And then
dike. And a dike is a dam.
No. Buffy said, it's like that finger in the duck thing.
Okay,
and then Angel's like, you mean dike?
Yes. And then she's
what
like,
what
dike?
Is that? She's like,
Whoa.
what? He's like, it's like a dam. He's like, do you really not?
Yeah.
You really think it was finger? And she's like, yeah, I guess that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah. And it's like, all right, he's like, I don't know if this relationship's going to work.
Maybe your mom is right.
Maybe we should study when you come over and stop doing Tai Chi. Maybe we'll read a book. Whatever they don't burn. Yeah.
So then we have a scene where Giles is at a computer.
Wait, but no, we have to go back to this scene is where Angel mentions something about like somehow he mentions offhand, and this is what makes Buffy think about where are the parents.
Oh, yeah.
He says something like, parents just like it. And she's like, yeah, parents. Yeah. You did help. And I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah. So then we have the scene with Giles at the computer and he's like cussing at the computer. He's like, this is such a bullshit machine. You're a fad. You're a fad. You'll never last. Books are forever. Books are cool. Computers drool.
History. He did not win that battle with the computers.
No, he did not. Unless, AI takes over and kills us all, then he'll have the last laugh.
He said it was a fad. It's not a fad.
It's definitely not a fad. But anyway. So he's cussing and he's like, this is bullshit. What do you mean server timed out? Xander and Oz show up. And I was like, are they boys now again?
They're so together all the time now with no dialogue between the two of them.
Yeah, like earlier in the episode, it was awkward as shit.
Yeah.
But we don't see a resolution to the awkwardness. We don't see like, hey, let's move past this. We just see them together.
I do like that Xander's like, and then I know Oz is judging me. He's just sitting there in his silence. And Buffy's like, yeah, because he was such a chatty person before. Because Oz just looks at him and it just like pierces through. It's so good. Yeah.
But yeah, they show up and they're like, come on, Giles, quit beating up the computer.
Yeah.
And then Buffy shows up and she's like, I got a theory. What do we know about these kids? Where are their parents? What are these kids' names? Where did they go to school? Do we know anything about them? And then Giles, Xander, and Oz are like, come to think of it, I just kind of, we had to have learned their names, right? There's got to be somewhere. I just kind of figured like it wasn't important. It was just two kids died. Yeah. And then they realize like they don't know anything about these kids. There's nothing reported about them. We just see the pictures of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a nice little twist.
It's a great twist because if you're watching the show, you have to be thinking like, who are these kids? Where are the parents? Like, we have never said their names. They only have one picture.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is great because it's there, obviously. And the show has done so many episodes where weird stuff happens and no one knows that you kind of could not pay attention. And I think we noticed because we talk about this thing for about an hour and a half every week.
Yeah, we analyze this constantly.
But yeah, I was just like, why are the parents not at this vigil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they start doing some tap research on the computer. Oz like pushes Giles out. He's like, get out of the way. I'm going to get on here. I'm going to try and connect with Willow. And they're like, well, we can't connect with Willow. She, her phone rights have been taken away. She's grounded. And Oz is like, oh, there's a way. I am's Willow.
Yeah.
On her laptop. And she opens it up and they're doing research together. And Willow finds a bunch of articles about these same kids dying throughout history. And they don't have names. They are just every 50 years, it looks like.
I love
they die.
This is still early internet, right? And I love stuff from like 150 years has already been uploaded on the internet.
Dude, not even 150 years. They go back to, Giles says, 1600s. And there's drawings of the kids. And they're like really good drawings.
Like, like, somehow these demons get away with everything, but someone has like sketched them. They sketch every symbol, every picture. And like, oh, yeah, this monster that's invisible, here's a sketch of them. We put it on the cover of this book. Like,
it's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So Willow's mom busts into Willow's room while she's like sending Oz and the Scooby Gang all of this information. And she's like, you are not respecting the bounds of groundingness, and I'm taking your laptop away. And Willow's like, wait, no, this is really important. I need to do this. Mom's like, you haven't heard me. And you know what? The only thing I can do now is let you go with love. And Willow's like, wait, what? And then the mom closes the door and locks Willow in the room. And I was like, oh, shit's going down now.
What a room that it almost makes sense that Willow's mom would have a door to Willow's room that can lock from the outside.
Yeah. But I also want to mention, we've seen in previous episodes that Willow has like doors to the outside, like right in her room.
Yeah.
Floor to ceiling window that Angel came into.
Yeah, she has a side entrance that you can come into.
Yeah. Just leave out that.
It seems like this room layout is different than it was in previous seasons.
I don't know, man.
I mean, it shouldn't be. They haven't moved from what we know.
Yeah, they didn't mention that, I don't think.
And the dad is away on business.
Yeah, for as much as the mom doesn't pay attention, the dad is yet to be seen. We're 3 seasons in. We just saw Willow's mom. We still haven't seen Xander's parents. We just got a mention of his parents like last episode.
Yeah. I'm fine with. I don't even need to see their parents though.
Yeah, they don't really play too much.
I mean, when they show up, they have to have a real reason for it. So.
Yeah. So then we go back to the library, and Giles he's got on his thinking cap, and he's like, "Wait, I believe I heard this European legend that sometimes fairy tales are real, and this sounds an awful lot like the fairy tale of Hansel and Gretel." And everyone kind of looks at him like, are you fucking serious, dude? Like, what are you talking about?
It makes logical sense, but I don't think I would jump to Hansel and Gretel from this.
Yeah. But he's talking about how, like, you know, a lot of times demons will just straight up attack people. But there are demons that don't strictly, like, go at people and attack them. They just, you know, have a pernicious thought implanted into people, and it causes a panic, like the Salem witch hunt and the Red Scare and the Satanic Panic. So he's like, maybe this is a little bit of that. And then as he's saying this, Michael, the goth kid witch, he runs into the library. I just want to know, how did he know that that's where to go to? Did Amy and Willow tell him?
I don't know.
I guess that Willow would have had to have told him.
You know, well, it's where nerds go when they get beat up. They go to the library. You go to the library to lick your wounds and read your books. He's like, I'm going to get a witchcraft book from here and I'm going to show those kids.
I'm going to fucking show you. I know how to do witchcraft stuff.
I can float 2 pencils.
So he bursts into the library crying. He's a little mascara's running. Those fucking nerd goth face.
I do love the run because he's like staggered as you got like the black eye.
Yeah. But he's like, help, I need your help. And everyone's like, what's going on? He's like, my parents locked me in my room and my dad tried to drag me out to the town square and they're going to attack me. And like, my dad's attacking me. And everyone kind of looks at him like, holy shit, dude. And then they are all running out.
Yeah, he says they got Amy. Like Amy's parents got her or something. Yep.
And then the gang runs out and Giles turns back to Michael. And he's like, you stay in my office. All right. You'll be safe there. The kid's like, okay, thanks, Giles.
He's like, that's where I was going anyway.
Yeah. So then we go back to Willow's room and then we hear the door unlock. And Willow gets up and she goes to the door. She's like, Mom? And then she opens the door and Willow's mom is there with 3 giant dudes. And Willow's like, Mom, what's going on? And her mom's like, get her!
Get the witch!
So they all grab Willow and Willow's like, what the fuck? Then we have Buffy going back to her house. And Joyce is having a meeting with members of Moo. And they're all...
it's always so funny. It's always funny.
It's so fun to say. And Buffy's like, Mom, we got to stop this right now. Willow's mom's attacking Willow. Amy's mom, Amy's mom isn't a statue. Amy's being attacked. This is getting out of hand. And Joyce is like, you know what? That's a good point. You're making a lot of sense, Buffy. Here, why don't you sniff this napkin really quick? Chloroforms Buffy. Giles gets taken out. They didn't chloroform Giles, did they? They just knocked him out.
Oh, they lift him. They lift him up at one point.
Yeah, they're like carrying him from his arms and his legs. He's like, oh no!
I didn't see clearly if they had a chloroform napkin or whatever, but it's so funny because like the mom just chloroforming was like really big in the 90s of knocking people out. But she chloroforms Buffy. Buffy's passing out, and then on this banister, you see the 2 kid ghosts, and they're holding a bottle with the printed out label that looks like it was printed out at home. There's this chloroform on it.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
It was very funny. It was like in big bold letters. Yeah, it was chloroform. And then so they're like, Joyce looks at the kids and they're like, there we go. I did good, right? And the kids are like, you did good, but it's not enough. You need to take out these bad girls for forever. We need to rid ourselves of them forever. And Joyce is like, I know what I must do now. And then Oz and Xander break into Willow's house because they know that Willow's in danger now. They're like, Willow, where are you? They run up to Willow's room. It's in shambles. Stuff is like strewn about. And they're like, oh, fuck, they already got to Willow.
How much of a mess did they make in there? Did they grab all of her stuff? It's like,
I know.
This one 16-year-old girl, just grab her.
I mean, and they were like on top of her as she opened the door anyway. Yeah. So I don't know.
It's like they went into the room just to mess it up later.
Yeah. Like we got to leave some evidence for whoever's going to come back here. And then so Willow's been taken and they have Willow, Buffy, and Amy tied to stakes in the courtroom where the vigil was, it looks like. They're in... I don't know where...
I was like, is this the school? I was like, is this... I guess it's not the school. It's some building. Yeah.
I thought it was like the mayor's office. It's like some kind of mayor's office building... And it looks like a courtroom to me.
Like an assembly or hall or something. Yeah.
So then we cut to...
And they're tied to stakes and there's books at the bottom of it. So they're going to burn books and witches and slayers.
Yeah, there's a bunch of torches. I think it's just like all of Giles's and Willow's and Amy's occult books. And they're like, we're going to get rid of all this stuff in one go.
Yep.
So then we cut back to Giles, who's been passed out on the floor. And we see a mysterious hand slapping him, going, wake up, wake up. Slaps him about like 7 or 8 times, like hard. And he wakes up and he's like, oh, what the fuck? Oh, stop slapping me. Oh. And who is it? It's our girl, Cordelia.
The hero.
She's back in the fold. And she's like, you know what? I think all of you guys are freaks and losers and outcasts, and I hate you all. But this has gotten way out of hand, all right? My parents took away my scented candles and all of my black clothing. Mm-hmm. They think I'm a witch. This is getting out of hand. Giles, you need to help people. And then Giles wakes up and he's like, oh. And then Cordelia goes, yeah, you're knocked out again, dude. Like, well, you're just here getting knocked out. How many times have you been knocked out, dude? I was like,
yeah. I'm telling you, this show knows what it is. Like, it knows that he gets knocked out too much.
It was fantastic.
The line is great. She goes, how many times have you been knocked out? One day you're going to wake up in a coma.
Yeah, and then Giles like, wake up in a... What?
I just love that line.
Well, it was like, have you seen Scary Movie 3?
Probably. Yeah, I'm sure.
The one with Charlie Sheen. Yeah. Kevin Hart and Anthony Anderson having a similar argument where he's like, you're going to wake up dead. It's like, how you going to wake up dead? It's so great. But Giles gets up and he's like, quick, we need to do something. We need to... And Cordelia's like, what are we going to do? And he's like, we got to save the town from Hansel and Gretel. And Cordelia's like, okay, just to make sure your brain damage was there before I started slapping you, right? Yeah. I was like, this is great.
And I'm just like, man, Cordelia, you're not in a ton. 2 scenes so far, and you're killing it.
Yeah. So Xander and Oz show up to the... I'm just going to say it's a courthouse.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't care.
So they show up to the courthouse, and the room where all of the witches who are being burned is blocked off by this group of big manly men. Men.
God. A lot of Charlie Sheen references.
I know, right? 2 in like 2 minutes. Yeah. But they show up and they're like, oh, hey there, fellas. Where do you join in? I want to join in on this hate train. And then they're like, they're not buying it. And then Oz is like, just to be clear, you guys are crazy. And then they start chasing Oz and Xander through the halls of the courthouse.
Yeah.
Buffy then wakes up from her chloroform nap, and Willow's like, Buffy, we're tired of the steak. What are we going to do? And Joyce is she's got a torch, and she's about to torch Buffy's little steak thing. Mm-hmm. And Buffy's like, Mom, you don't want to fucking do this. You're going to kill your own daughter? And she's like, I mean, yeah, you're doing all kinds of crazy witch stuff, and you're a slayer. Like, we can't have that in this town.
She's like, I almost killed and or banged Xander under the influence, so...
So, and this is where Willow's mom walks over and she gives Joyce the torch. Yeah. And Willow's mom is like, Joyce says to Willow's mom, thank you for being with me throughout this time. This is very nice of you. We should get lunch sometime. And Willow's mom's like, oh yeah, when are you free? But Joyce is like, I'm free, like, I think next Tuesday. Is that going to be good for you? Like, oh yeah.
I absolutely love this moment because it's such a mom moment. It's like, we should stay in touch when this is over.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So good. I mean, this episode has some really great moments in it, man.
Yeah. And then Joyce just walks over and she starts to light the flame. And then Amy's like, you don't want to fucking do this, guys. Like, you're going to torch us and we're witches? Well, guess what? I'm going to start doing some witch shit. And then Amy starts to do a spell. Her eyes become black. She has these little flames going around her head. Mm-hmm. And as she completes the spell, she turns into a rat. And I was like, nice callback, dude.
Yes.
Love that callback to bewitched, bothered, and whatever the other word is. Bewildered. I loved that callback. She turns into a rat and then just scurries off. And I was like, no one's going to try and kill this rat. Like, the rat just runs through the legs of everybody. Everyone just kind of looks at it like, oh, geez, no, that was weird, huh?
Yeah, no,
like, nobody tries to stomp it or anything.
Like, you guys are here to kill witches.
Yeah. You just saw even more evidence that they're witches.
That is the thing that's crazy. They keep proving. They're not proving that they didn't kill the kids, but they keep proving that they are witches, which would be scary enough. No one would care that you killed a kid. They were like, I don't want you hanging around my kids if you could know witchcraft.
I was just like, everyone, and it's nonchalant. Yeah. Like, nobody scurries out of the way of the rat.
Yeah.
They just like stand in their same place and they watch it roll by. And I was like, no one's gonna like kick it.
This is probably like production logistics of animals, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Also, Willow says, "Hey, why didn't you do us first?"
Buffy, yeah. She's like, well, why the fuck?
Yeah.
Why did you do that to her? Why didn't you do us first?
And I'm
I
like,
thought it was funny.
And I'm like, yeah, Amy, like, switch all of them to rats first.
Yeah.
You did it to Buffy real easy. And another thing with the Salem witch trials, like, when you think if you had a witch that knew how to do witchcraft and you had them at a stake against the ropes about to die, wouldn't you think more witches would do stuff like that if witches were actually magical powered?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, why would you ever allow yourself to get burned at the stake if you have magic powers?
Also, I want to talk to you about the logistics of this.
Yeah, the slowest burning fire ever. Is that what you want to talk about?
I want to talk about that, but also they're indoors.
Yeah.
And they all stay in the room and they lock the doors. Like, they would all die inside there.
They would all asphyxiate, yeah.
Yeah, they would all like smoke inhalation. They would all fucking. I was like, this is the dumbest plan ever.
It is the slowest moving fire because I was like, oh, they're not going to set fire. They set fire.
No, yeah.
There's fire burning on those books.
Yeah.
Fire spreads quickly.
Yes, it does.
Especially on those old pages.
I mean, Giles mentions earlier on in the episode as Buffy's like about to draw on something. He's like, hey, careful, that's from the 14th century.
Yeah.
Or whatever century it is. But
he's
it's like,
lost a ton of books.
If those are Giles's books, he's fucked,
have to
dude.
be.
I mean,
they weren't all catching a rye.
Just a bunch of 1984 and other books they were trying to ban.
Yeah.
Fucking Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that. I was like, why are you doing this indoors? You're all going to choke and die.
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows you burn outside. Everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, rookie mistake.
Yeah.
Open some windows, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe if they read a book, they know how the Salem witch trials went down.
But after Amy turns herself into a rat, Willow starts to get the gall of like, oh, I mean, I don't really know witch stuff, but they all just saw Amy do witch stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, see, we are witches and you better let us go or I'm going to do some even crazier witch shit and I'll fucking destroy all of you, even the people in the back. And Buffy like whispers to her, she's like, what are you going to do? You're going to float a pencil above their head? And Willow's like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Buffy's so bad at lying that she can't even handle it when someone else is doing a bluff near her. She's like ruining Willow's bluff.
I know. Which I thought was a very clever idea. I was like, Willow, good job.
Yeah. Put this
like,
fire out or you'll all be rats.
Exactly.
Like, that's what you do. You got nothing.
Like, I'll turn you into rats and I'll turn some of you into fish and that'll make you die because you're not in water.
Yeah.
All right? Let me down now. And no one's buying it.
They don't do anything.
No one's buying it at all. Even though they just saw it happen.
I know.
No one buys it whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the hell? So after Willow starts threatening people and Buffy is also like kind of backing her up now, the adults are like, okay, maybe we should leave actually and let these people burn and not be in the same room and die of asphyxiation with them. The kids are like, no, you need to stay. You need to watch them die. You need to stay here and protect us. And they're like, okay, I guess we need to stay here in the same room and all die.
So here's the thing that gets tricky here. It's one thing for like the kids to pretend to be dead and it causes like if a kid goes missing in a small town, it can destroy anything. Like one of my favorite shows is it's Broadchurch and it's so good. Olivia Colman, the guy who was one of the Doctor Who's at one point, I believe. Great show. Check it out. But it's like a English town and a kid is found murdered and no one knows who did it. And it just like rips the town apart of suspicion, right? This one is like, oh, 2 kids are dead. We think witches did it. But then the kids keep showing up and telling them to keep doing it. Like they don't need that extra element.
Yeah, I mean, the kids show up magically, too. Like, they weren't in the room. They just appeared.
And it seems like the parents are reacting to the image of the kids.
Yeah, like, I didn't know if it was only Joyce that could see the kids or every parent or even... Could Buffy even see them?
Buffy started to see them, too.
Yeah, I was like, what? who can and can't see these kids?
They'd be better off not being shown again. Like just do the fake thing.
Yeah, just when you incept the idea,
they would have been better off killing a real kid and just drawing on its hand.
Yeah. Or just like whisper, like if it was like just a voice that you could hear.
Yeah.
But they keep showing up, and then I was like, I don't know. Okay, who can see these kids?
Who's tripping? I know they're all inhaling all this smoke.
So then we have Giles and Cordelia drive into the courthouse, and Cordelia is helping Giles put together a spell that's going to unveil Hansel and Gretel and show that they're actually a demon.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what? I hate you. She's like putting all this stuff together. She's like, I just want you guys to know, like, in case you forgot, I hate you. Giles is like, yeah, whatever. Xander and Oz have escaped the clutches of the adults, and they now are climbing through vents.
Yeah.
Then we go back to Buffy and Willow, and they're pleading with the adults. They're like, please don't kill us, dude. Like, we're your children.
I'm like, how are they not on fire yet?
Yeah, right? Then Giles and Cordelia show up, and Giles takes a bobby pin from Cordelia's head, not without a lot of complaint from Cordelia. And he starts to break in, and Cordelia's like, oh, aren't you the little rascal, you little ne'er-do-well? And Giles is like, shut up, dude.
She's like ripping him about his like teenage like rebellion years or whatever. Like,
yeah, and at that moment is when I was like, so wait, the adults have locked themselves into this room, and they're all just gonna die in there with Buffy and Willow.
Maybe that's the demon's plan.
I guess.
I don't know.
So they bust in. All the adults turn around.
Wait, they don't see him. They don't see him.
Oh, you're right. Buffy sees him, and
because Willow's like,
okay.
Willow's like, I don't know if I can hang on much longer, Buffy. It's hot. And I'm like,
yeah.
What kind of complaint is that?
Yeah.
And Buffy's like apologizing that she got her into this mess.
Yeah.
Which isn't really her fault.
No.
I mean, Willow might have fallen into witchcraft even without Buffy.
Yeah.
They knew she knew Amy the Witch before Buffy knew Amy the Witch.
That's true.
Yeah.
But Giles and Cordelia are sneaking around, and then Cordelia like busts open a fire hose that's in the room.
She elbows it like, yeah, she breaks the glass with her elbow. Classic.
And then all the adults turn around, and Giles is like, stop this now. And he raises his like little potion bottle, spell bottle, and he starts doing the German spell that he had a hard time remembering in the car, but now he remembers it perfectly, apparently. Yeah. Cordelia starts spraying all the adults with this super high-powered hose. And then Willow and Buffy are like, Cordelia, fucking put out the fire, dude.
And she's like, oh, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. Oz and Xander are still in the vents. Giles completes the spell as the little kids start walking towards him, and he throws the bottle down at their feet. And then the two kids hug and then morph into this gigantic, enormous demon. And all the adults see that shit happen. They're like, oh, fuck. They all start running out. Joyce is like, oh my God.
Yeah. And then the demon is still trying to convince them.
Yeah, he's like, no, wait, stay. Everybody, the party just started.
You gotta avenge our deaths.
Protect us. Everyone's like, no, dude, you're not even real. The adults run away. Buffy sees the demon, and this is all of a sudden, she's been trying to break out of this like rope and post situation. And she sees the demon, and this is when she gets the strength to finally break the post that she is tied to.
Yeah, because death by fire, which is brutal, wasn't enough motivation.
Yeah, right? So ridiculous. She breaks it. She falls down from the post. And then we have perhaps the greatest image that I've seen in this show.
This is automatically on Discord going to make the Slay of the Week.
Absolutely. I took a picture of this just so I could do that.
And it's similar to an earlier thing this season too, but let's describe what happens here.
Buffy breaks the post. The post is tied behind her back. She lands forward on her feet, and she's bent over. And you just hear like a... noise.
Could you see the demon walking towards her? Because she's been
Yes.
giving a demon shit about like, oh, no one's going to listen to you in that form.
Exactly. So then you hear like a and Buffy goes, "What? Did I get it? Did I get it? Did I get it?" And it's like a close-up of her face while she's saying that.
Yeah.
And then we have a wide shot of Buffy bent over with this post tied to her back. And the demon has walked right into the spiky part, top stake of it. And it's right through his neck.
Yeah.
And Willow's in the background looking like, ooh.
I mean, it really is one of those where you're like, wow, this demon is not functional. This is a crazy cool image. I did love Buffy bent over and she can't see anything because the stake is like so big and she's like hunched over with her hands tied behind her back. She's like,
Yeah.
Did I get it? Did I get it?
It was hilarious. And this demon is mega dumb. Mega
Absolutely.
dumb.
I wanted to be like, this is so anticlimactic of it. I mean, it's not anticlimactic because it was like fire and all this stuff, but the demon puts up no fight once it hits demon form. But
Yeah.
the
visual's great.
yeah.
Plus, Giles did explain that this demon's MO is more about like pervasive thought.
It's crazy that it walked into that.
Yeah, right, dude? Just like when Faith killed that guy with the giant post.
Yes. It's a better visual than that. It's just as shocking, and it's a giant post going through someone's... Like, this is a bigger demon with a bigger post going through his neck.
Yeah. And spikier. Like that.
Why is the top so pointy?
The top is so pointy, dude.
Where did they get this?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but when Buffy and Joyce are having that conversation, initially where Joyce says that her efforts are fruitless, when you look at the never again signs in the background, all of them have pointy tops.
Yeah, they do.
So I guess it falls in line with this gigantic pointy, but like,
what? Like it seems like someone spent all day carving that thing.
Yeah. But it was a great kill.
Man,
automatic slay of the week.
Yeah. Join the Discord.
So silly.
Join the Discord to check out the past slays of the week.
Yeah.
We keep, and sometimes the slays aren't kills.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a witty retort.
Yep.
Sometimes it's kills. Oftentimes it's fun.
Last episode was a really tricky one.
Yeah.
Someone that we don't see gets the slay of the week.
Just so yeah, the demon has been slain.
Yeah.
In this most hilarious fashion. And as this demon has been slain, Oz and Xander fall through the ceiling and they go, after everything is already done, they look up and they go, "We're here to save you." Also very funny.
Yeah.
Great moments.
I'm really looking forward to the moment we get an Oz Xander episode together.
Oh, a little buddy cop.
Yeah.
Oz and Xander.
Yeah. They look
That'll
like they both have different personalities in a way that will be really fun to see them try to work together. We had like them running together, but not actually having to solve a problem. It's like when they put Buffy and Cordelia together that one time. They've done Willow and Cordelia a couple times.
Yeah, like Oz and Xander don't really have a lot to do. Like the scenes that they have together are literally just them running. Like they don't have any problems to work out. They don't have any kind of argument or bickering or anything.
Yeah.
But, I enjoyed it.
I mean, it was fun. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. But after they fall through the ceiling, we have a scene where Buffy and Willow are now doing a spell. And Willow's talking about, my mom's back to being normal and disinterested in my life, except for she's very curious about my musician boyfriend, and Oz has to come over and have dinner. But otherwise, she's doing that selective memory thing that your mom does, Buffy. And I was like, how can you select to not remember all of this?
I know. Because it's like, the show knows what it is, and it's calling it out, so we can't call it out.
Yeah.
Like, we call out the knockouts. We call out people die all the time at Sunnydale. The selective memory.
Well, it's not even just...
Like, does Buffy mom make dinner and go like, did I try to set you... Like, as soon as she turned the burner on, does she think about setting her daughter on fire?
Dude, and the thing is, it'd be different if it was just Willow and Buffy's mom in that room. Mm-hmm. But it was like 20 to 30 other adults. And we're supposed to believe that they all chose to not remember this stuff.
So everyone forgot about the dead kids too?
Yeah,
Does
like what
Moon
the
not
fuck?
exist? There's buttons.
What the
There's
fuck,
actual
dude?
things.
There's never again signs all over this place. The mayor made it his slogan.
Yeah.
What the fuck? This is unreal.
I'm okay to forget it, so for the sake of the show to keep going on.
Yes.
But it's absurd.
I gotta say.
It is absurd. Because it's weird because some things they want us to remember. Because we definitely want to remember band camp. Giles and Joyce definitely keep bringing that up.
Exactly. So, they remember all the stuff that they did when they were teenagers.
Principal Snyder has to remember riding around with Buffy as they took down a bad guy that was selling tainted chocolate.
Yes. Dude, and it's like...
And there were kids kidnapped. There were 4 kids kidnapped. There were 4 little babies kidnapped in that episode.
Yes, dude. There's so much
Buffy's
stuff.
Mom was there. Buffy's mom was there when the 4 kids got kidnapped and started making out with Giles.
Yes,
there were 4 infants.
Dude, not only that, it's like they all remember from that Halloween episode where Ethan Rayne turned Xander remembers military guy stuff. Yeah. Like, everybody remembers everything, and it just blows my mind. It blows my mind.
Doing the selective memory thing.
Like, the whole, Buffy's mom remembers trying to fuck Xander.
Yeah.
I mean, your selective memory has a limit, I feel, you know? No? Yeah. Like, you saw a girl turn into a rat.
Yeah.
And you were trying to burn 2 other teenage girls in a courtroom.
How do you clean up the courtroom that was on fire?
Yes. What about Giles's books? Like, all of the lockers that you broke into and you found a bunch of shit. Like, so much has happened that you have to forget.
How does Giles have his books back in the library? And the principal's like, wait, didn't we get rid of these?
Yeah.
And he's not there during the burning. So
I don't know. How's Giles not fired? I thought that was Snyder would have fired him. Does he not have firing power?
Wait, if you're a librarian with all those books about the occult, wouldn't that be like, hey, are you spreading it?
Yeah, dude, how is he not suspect number 1? How come he didn't get called into the principal's office? Like, they're on a literal witch hunt. Giles has hundreds of books about witches, vampires, the occult, and they're confiscating them, and Giles is just like, call off your marauders. Yeah. And Snyder goes, you're going to have to answer to Moo? Kids are dead. Kids are dead. And you're going to have to talk. You're going to have to talk to Buffy's mom. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, man. Jenny Calendar is so lucky she missed out on this.
All of this aside.
Yes.
I love this show.
Love the show. Love the episode.
I love talking about the show.
Yes.
This is hilarious, dude.
Yeah. But the show also knows it. They call it out here.
Yes, I know. And it's great, but also just hilariously world-breaking at the same time.
Yeah, like they go to school and they're like, where's... Like, Amy has not been in school, as we'll see from this next... From the scene that they're doing witchcraft to try to reverse Amy the witch and turn her back into a person.
And they're doing it very unsuccessfully.
Yep.
They keep trying to turn her back and they can't. So she's just a rat now.
Yes.
And then Buffy's like, well, I guess we're going to have to get her one of those wheel things until we figure this out. It's like, what?
And then the episode just ends.
It's like, wait a minute.
That is an amazing way to write off a character if that's the last we see of Amy the Witch. But they got to bring her back.
I hope that in future episodes, they just have her as a rat, like in Willow's room or something.
Oh my God, absolutely.
They have, if they don't turn her back, they have to have her as a pet.
Yeah.
That would be so fucking funny. Like, she kind of has suffered the same fate as her mom.
Yeah.
Like,
But
that's
I will
some
say,
poetic justice.
I will say, she kind of watched out for herself when she was on that stake.
Oh,
she
she
did not
absolutely
try
did.
to help the other people.
No.
She bounced.
She was like, I'm out, deuces.
Yep.
Have fun with the fire, ladies.
Good luck, Buffy and Willow. I'm out. To the sewers.
Yeah. But that's the episode, man. And I gotta say, what a banger.
This is a blast. I was watching it and I'm like, wow, they're calling that out. They're bringing that up. Wow. They know what they're doing.
They absolutely, it's like they listened to our podcast 20, 30 years ago and they're like, we got to answer some of these questions that.
Remember early on when we first started watching it, we got a lot of flack for our like vampires not being able to come in the doorway thing.
Yeah.
And then like 4 episodes later, it became a whole plot point.
Yeah.
And it's like, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're trying their best to answer all the questions that viewers would have, but they answer them in the most silly ways possible. And I'm here for it, man.
And this is something that you could do when shows were not being released all at once. Like, and they have like a Christmas break and they can hear some feedback from like, not necessarily internet talking to people, just random reviews. Like they can actually incorporate it within the seasons.
Yes.
Like news that they heard, as opposed to if you're binge watching something, there's no way you can change it.
Yeah.
For good or for bad. You know, sometimes you change stuff just because idiots on the internet say something. You're like, don't do that.
Yeah.
I'll bring up Stranger Things as changing something because of a birthday mix-up that they had, and they're like trying to re-record something. So it's a different
like
date.
retcon something.
Yeah, and it's like, no, just leave that as a weird Easter egg mistake.
Yeah.
That's how you get Nelson, the Mandela effect, you know?
Mm-hmm. But that is it for Gingerbread, everybody. I loved talking about this episode.
It was great. Yeah.
You got anything else? Final thoughts here on this?
Yeah, just the slowest burning fire ever, but that's about it. That fire was going for a long time.
It was funny because Willow at one point does say, Buffy, I'm on fire. And she was not.
Yeah, she's like, I'm catching on fire. I'm like, why are you telling Buffy this?
Yeah.
She can't do anything. She's tied up, except for when she wants to not be.
Next episode, Vance, is titled Helpless. What do you think we got going on in Helpless?
Yeah, I saw the thumbnail. It's just a picture of Buffy.
I did not see the thumbnail, but that doesn't seem like it leads to any clues.
I don't know who could be helpless. I don't know. I have like this one. I'm so shocked. Like I don't know how you even follow this.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna predict that it's Giles feeling helpless because he doesn't have his books anymore, and he feels like he can't help Buffy somehow.
I'm gonna say one of the characters feels helpless that they don't have powers or anything.
Oh, maybe Xander, because Xander doesn't have, like, Willow's a witch. Buffy's a slayer, Giles is a watcher, Oz is a werewolf.
Like, maybe it's something to do with that.
Okay, that's a good prediction. I like that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. All of our usual plugs here: rate and review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, if that's where you're listening to it. Follow us on Instagram at BoysWatchingBuffy if you want to write in. BoysWatchingBuffy@gmail.com, or just slide into the DMs of that Boys Watching Buffy IG page. Send some merch. Send some merch on that IG page too. And join the Discord. The link is in the show notes. We're having a lot of fun on there, really active. And yeah, that wraps it up for Gingerbread. Stay tuned for next time when we talk about Helpless.
Lift a finger against me and you'll have to answer to move.
Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.